Hi, everybody. I'm Janet Peckinpah. Logan Burns off tonight. Under arrest, a Connecticut woman drives her car into the river with her husband inside. She's now charged with trying to kill him. Campus tragedy, new developments in the death of a Quinnipiac University sophomore, and thousands forced to evacuate as Tropical Storm Rita takes aim at the Florida Keys. Stay with us live at 5 right now.
Live from Connecticut's news leader, this is NBC 30 News Live at 5.
An Enfield woman under arrest charged with attempted murder after police say she drove a car with her husband inside the Connecticut River. NBC 30's Tom Monahan live in Enfield with the story for us. Tom, what happened?
Well, Janet, thanks a lot. First of all, the big question tonight is whether or not the woman, in fact, did try to kill her husband. Now, the police say yes, she did. Her husband says no, she didn't. Right now, as you see behind me, the Connecticut River, very serene, but that was not the case at about 12:30 early this morning when there was a lot of activity here, all of which has left many of the people who live in this area somewhat stunned by the events of last night. Now, early this afternoon, there was still activity at the scene with police and fire officials pulling the car out of the water. It did happen shortly after midnight last night when a woman identified as 50-year-old Ellen Bosquet allegedly drove her car at a high rate of speed down a boat ramp into the Connecticut River. Bosquet was in the car with her husband, Mark. The woman is well known in the Enfield area, having been named Realtor of the Month last month by Prudential. This picture was taken from her company's website. Her husband told me just a few minutes ago that it was all a mistake. He admitted there had been an argument, but that in no way did his wife try to kill him. Police, however, are seeing things differently. They've charged Mary Ellen Bosquet with attempted murder, reckless endangerment on the first degree, and breach of peace. She's still being held on $1 million bond. Enfield police say this is what they know at the present time.
When we got here, the car was in fact in a river, and the two occupants, female and a male, the male was on shore, the female had ran from the scene when the officers, which heard the officers coming with the sirens.
And what'd you find out? I guess after talking to him, you got a little bit of the story?
Yeah, it resulted from a domestic incident. Apparently they had a squabble of some sort. They'd apparently both been drinking, and for some reason she just elected to drive her vehicle at about 50 miles an hour right into the river.
Now, as the captain pointed out, this couple apparently has had problems in the past. We've talked with a couple of the neighbors up there. We'll hear from one upcoming at 6 o'clock who said, yes, police have been called to the neighborhood on various occasions. Live here in Enfield, Tom Monahan, NBC 30 Connecticut News. Janet, back to you.
Thank you, Tom. First it was Katrina, then Ophelia, and now all eyes are on Rita. 40,000 ordered to leave the Florida Keys. These people are fleeing from Key West, which could be hit as early as tomorrow. The tropical storm is nearing hurricane strength. It's swirling over the central Bahamas.
Once again, I cannot say this enough. All storms are dangerous. I think there is, since we've been watching the effects and tragedies unfold after Hurricane Katrina and its awesome force, that somehow people might think that a Category 1 or 2 force storm is something that is not that big of a deal. It is.
Rita is the 17th named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, making this the 4th busiest season since the late 1800s. The record is 21 tropical storms in 1933. Well, Chief Meteorologist Brad Field has a Weather Plus alert on Tropical Storm Rita. Brad, your information, please.
Well, Janet, the newest information as of 5 o'clock, Rita is still a tropical storm, as you mentioned, swirling through the Bahamas on a trajectory that's going to take it to the Florida Keys. But this thing could become a Category 3 hurricane capable of extensive damage as it moves toward the northwest Gulf of Mexico. Now, these are the latest coordinates just in as of 5 o'clock from the hurricane center. Winds are 70 miles per hour, gusting to 85, a track right over Key West, heading toward the northwest Gulf of Mexico. We'll have more on the tropics as we move through the next hour and a half. And Janet, our lovely weather of today will be replaced by showers, maybe thunderstorms approaching from the west. My Weather Plus forecast coming up.
All right, Brad, see you then. Well, this just into NBC 30. New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin says he is suspending the return of residents to New Orleans. That's because of the threat of Rita. Earlier today, some residents started to head home, but not everyone thought it was such a great idea. NBC 30 national correspondent Jay Gray has more from New Orleans.
Thousands of people are trying to get back into New Orleans right now.
You know, that's not one of the areas that's open right now, that address.
But there are growing concerns that too many people are moving back into this area too fast.
It's just a matter of timing. And there's issues to be dealt with.
Close to 40% of the city is still underwater, covered in muck and sludge, and there's a very real worry about serious disease and infection. Debris still litters much of New Orleans, and the power is down in several areas.
Let me give you a real concern that I think everybody ought to pay attention to, and that is this tropical storm Rita.
If the storm turns their way, the battered levees in New Orleans are nowhere near ready for another punch, and there's still no plan in place to get people out. Still, the cleanup has shifted into high gear in Algiers.
What else are you going to do? I mean, you can't just walk away from it.
This was the first official day residents were allowed to return, though many have been here for more than a week.
Hopefully, you know, we all pull together and make this happen. You know, it's a slow process, but it's a sure process.
And a process that is now at the center of the latest storm over just how fast New Orleans should try to come back.
And while local and federal officials continue to discuss that timeline, many here in the French Quarter are working and hope to open for business sometime this week. In New Orleans, Jay Gray, NBC News.
Reckless driving. That's what another truck driver on Avon Mountain's been charged with. The truck belongs to American Crushing and Recycling, the same company that owned the dump truck whose brakes were to blame for the July 29th deadly crash on the bottom of Avon Mountain. The latest incident involves a truck that was stopped on the other side of the mountain Friday. A passerby notified West Hartford police. The truck was driving with a full load without his tag wheels down. Those wheels have brakes that keep the truck or help the truck stop. And after he was stopped, the driver told the police he didn't have enough pressure.
It is that driver's responsibility. Once he finds that there's something wrong with that truck, he needs to do a pre-inspection. And if he knows something's wrong, as this driver did admit, he knew there was a problem, he needs to take that truck offline until that problem can be fixed.
The truck company owners had no comment. The driver will face a reckless driving charge in court September 27th. A Quinnipiac student who died this weekend after falling from his third-floor dormitory balcony was drunk. That's according to the state medical examiner. Ricardo Petrillo was a sophomore at the school in Hamden. NBC 30's Ken Llewellyn live outside our studio on the Green in New Haven with tonight's new developments. Ken.
Well, Janet, police are calling this an accident, but it may have been an accident that could have been avoided. Rico Petrillo, according to the medical examiner, died from massive head and chest injuries from the fall, but they say he was drunk when he went over the edge.
Because when you hear things like that, you think of like huge schools like a Penn State or a UConn.
But this is Quinnipiac University with less than 6,000 undergrads, many still hurting tonight. On Saturday, Ricardo Petrillo put his studies aside and met his friends in his dorm, a typical campus gathering that changed in an instant when the 20-year-old fell from a balcony 3 stories to the pavement below.
And he always made people laugh, and he was just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and he would do anything for anybody.
Police say Petrillo and his friends were in a dorm known as The Hill. It's unclear whether they were holding a party, but the medical examiner says Petrillo was drunk, hanging out on the balcony when he somehow went over the railing.
A sad ending to what appeared to be a fun night.
The sophomore, known by his friends and fraternity brothers as Rico, grew up in Westport and was majoring in political science. This senior took a drama class with him.
He was quiet, you know, but he seemed like a nice kid. He was a good actor.
Today, grief counselors stood ready for students. Late last night, school officials held a memorial for Petrillo, the first student ever to die in an accident on campus, but one of many deaths classmates here have endured in recent years.
I mean, I'm a junior, and in the 3 years I've been here, we've had quite a few deaths. It's college, man. People drink. I don't think it's a drinking problem, though.
Well, NBC 30 has learned at least 3 students have died in the last 5 years in alcohol-related accidents, with many more involved in car wrecks. At 6, I'll tell you why students say it is so easy to get alcohol on campus. We're live tonight at our studio on the Green in New Haven. Ken Llewellyn, NBC 30 News. Janet?
Thank you, Ken. A 30-year-old woman says, yes, she had a lengthy sexual relationship with her daughter's 8-year-old playmate. In a prearranged deal with prosecutors, Tammy Emery pleaded guilty to risk of injury to a minor, a much lesser charge than she was arrested for last November. NBC 30's Doug Green here tonight with the update. Doug?
Janet, pleading guilty to the lesser charges, risk of injury instead of sexual assault, still gives Tammy Emery 3.5 years more in jail. She's been in jail since her arrest a year ago, and her lawyer says that will count toward her sentence.
She'll probably be out, we hope, in less than 4 years.
Tammy Emery, now 30 years old, pleaded guilty to risk of injury to a minor. She was accused a year ago of sexually assaulting an 8-year-old boy in her Stratford neighborhood, a friend of her 7-year-old daughter.
When we first started the case, I told everyone that there was definitely a different story here to be told. And our story definitely wasn't a sex one case. There was not sex between these two people. And I think that we set out to prove that, and we did that.
The hinge that closed this plea bargain was the victim's mother's desire to spare her son any more time in the courthouse, any more contact with the criminal justice system.
We're very pleased with what happened, and from this day forward, my clients can start the healing process and move on with their lives.
The victim's mother in the striped shirt said she would speak at the sentencing in November. So will Emery. But for now, inside the Fairfield County Courthouse, all she said was that she understood the charges and she was guilty.
She pled guilty to the 2 risk counts. She had given statements to the police department, backing up some of those charges, and those are the charges she pled to. She didn't plead to any of the sex charges or anything to do with actual sex with the boy. And we had said from the very beginning that that wasn't true, and I think that today is evidence of that.
Coming up at 6, a partner in the defense attorney's own law firm questions Papsy's decision to take that plea bargain. Sentencing November 4th. Janet?
Thank you, Doug. In Norwalk, 24 students who live in public housing will get paid for doing some extra schoolwork. That's because they're involved in an intensive education program in math and language arts run by the Norwalk Housing Authority. The students will each get $1,000 for taking part in the project. Kids and food allergies, why every school in Connecticut will have to follow new guidelines. And some big surprises at last night's Emmy Awards. Hear what some of the winners had to say backstage. Then at 5:30, new developments in a deadly train derailment in Chicago. What may have been to blame.
Also ahead at 5:30, campus concerns. A Yale student, the victim of an armed robbery attempt. Today, new action is being taken in New Haven. The story next at 5:30.
Don't forget to get your best deal at Hyundai September Clearance, where right now you can get up to $4,000 cash back on models across the lot. You'll save big on the Hyundai Santa Fe V6 with Hyundai's award-winning quality that lets us offer America's best warranty. So don't wait. Clearance time is the best time to buy. But take note, Hyundai September Clearance ends September 30th at Hyundai. During Hyundai September Clearance, get up to $4,000 cash back. So hurry to your Hyundai dealer.
Everybody's talking about Oust, the first and only air sanitizer.
Oust is for the air. I thought Lysol was an air sanitizer. Lysol isn't killing the bacteria in the air.
Oust is the first and only air sanitizer that kills odor-causing bacteria in the air.
I don't think there's anything like this. Oust kills the bacteria. Oust gets rid of the odors, doesn't mask the odors. It smells clean and fresh.
Get odor-causing bacteria out with Oust Air Sanitizer. S.E. Johnson, a family company.
It does what it says.
An urgent message to the people of Connecticut. As you may know, Connecticut is the wealthiest state in the nation, but we are dangerously close to losing our ranking. Thankfully, GEICO has introduced new lower rates on car insurance in Connecticut. What's more, when you get a quote at geico.com, you'll receive a $25 internet savings discount on your new policy. We strongly urge everyone to take advantage of GEICO's new lower rates. Please, let's keep Connecticut wealthy.
This message paid for by GEICO, where 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance.
The West End Collection from Bassett. Introductory pricing available now through September 27th.
Mom doesn't do it like that.
mom does it.
Hey, you guys getting hungry?
Hungry for something good? Healthy Choice is great tasting food you can feel good about.
You did one thing right, Dad.
Healthy Choice. Green is good.
All it takes is one bite of food, and if you're allergic, your airwaves could close up. That means for children with food allergies, the school lunchroom can be deadly. But a new Connecticut law is trying to keep those students safer. NBC 30's Lauren Petty spoke with a Farmington mother who pushed to get this law passed.
Rosemary Zott packs her son's lunches with a lot of care.
Skylar, you need to still get your shoes on.
That's because her 6-year-old son, Skylar, could have a life-threatening allergic reaction if he eats or even touches 2 foods.
Peanuts and peanuts.
Rosemary keeps a close eye to make sure Skylar steers clear of nuts, but once he heads off to first grade at East Farms Elementary, his safety is in the administration's hands.
We've dealt with children with life-threatening allergies for many years.
Skylar eats at a special nut-free table in the cafeteria. Peanut butter has been completely removed from the lunch menu.
Find your spot. Hard. Count to 10.
And the school nurse is on site to administer one of 8 EpiPens spread throughout the building in case Skylar does have an allergic reaction. While East Farms has a thorough plan in place for children like Skylar, that's not the case statewide.
There is no state law or guideline at all in Connecticut, so each school and each district can really do what they want.
That will all change January 1st. That's when a new state law says the Department of Education has to have food allergy guidelines for schools.
You have finished your first week of first grade.
The Department of Education tells NBC 30 the guidelines will include sample plans from schools like East Farms that already have procedures in place and more protocols for education and training. But some school administrators say it will be hard to create a blueprint that fits all children.
Well, I think it's going to be hard to standardize practice except to say you need to have a plan because it varies so much. Each of the cases we've had have required different levels of accommodation.
Although any improvement will be music to Rosemary Zott's ears.
It's so difficult in this situation in the schools. Some are better prepared than others, and so I think there's a lot of people looking forward to this guideline that's coming out from the State Department of Education.
In Farmington, Lauren Petty, NBC 30 News.
And it starts next January. Now it's time to look at our NBC 30 Weather Plus with Brad Field.
Yes.
And a beautiful day outside.
And it's going to be a beautiful day on Wednesday and Thursday, but we've got a little bit of an interruption tomorrow.
Okay.
Not a big deal.
All right.
All right, let's start off with our SkyCam 30 Network live pictures from Waterbury tonight. And look at that nice sky. A few clouds starting to filter in. We will see increasing clouds as we go through the overnight period. 54 this morning in Waterbury. What a delightful start to the day. Up to 79 degrees this afternoon. And the current temperature reading in Waterbury is 79 at the airport. Let's take a look at our neighborhood network. We've got a temperature reading in Waterbury right now at the junction of Route 8 and 84 at 78 degrees. At NBC 30 in West Hartford, 82. And at our Mystic studio at the Mystic Aquarium and Institute for Exploration, temperature reading is 79 degrees. And notice those humidities, mid-30s to low 40s. What a delightful change from the high levels of humidity we experienced over the weekend. All right, we start off tonight with our compilation of Doppler radars all over the eastern part of the nation. And you see there are showers in the Great Lakes and thunderstorms back through the Ohio River Valley. These are riding on a west to east trajectory, and I do think we'll see some showers and storms in here during the day tomorrow. Let's go to the weather maps and we'll show you what we've got. First off, we've had the clear sky today, but notice the clouds off to the west. Increasing clouds, my forecast for the overnight period. So we had some great late summer weather today. We've got the warm front flying by and then the cold front approaching. The combination of the cold front acting on more humid air tomorrow will produce some showers and some storms. Temperatures out there currently ranging from the mid-70s to the low 80s. New London is the cool spot tonight at 75, and Hartford is the warm spot at 82 degrees. Now, it'll be humid for tomorrow. One day of humid weather, and then look back to nice and dry as we move into the day on Wednesday. So here's a look at the forecast for the overnight period. For tonight, we're going for increasing clouds with temperatures, as you see here, ranging in the low to middle 60s. Waterbury and Torrington at 60, New Haven, Hartford, and Groton all at 64 degrees, a southwest to southerly wind. Now, during the day tomorrow, variable clouds and humid. There'll be some scattered showers and storms around. A lot of clouds, but that doesn't preclude getting a little bit of sun. 79 through the interior, 76 at the shoreline, southwest winds of 9 to 18 miles per hour. Here's a realistic view from the sky on down to the ground. You see those areas of showers tomorrow with temperatures in the mid and upper 70s, 76 in Groton, 79 degrees, the high temperature tomorrow in Hartford. All right, here's the planner. That one day kind of bump in the road tomorrow, 79 degrees, but back down to 56 tomorrow night. Drier conditions on Wednesday, a glorious day, bright and sunny, temperature of 82 degrees. And check out Thursday, another nice day, temperature near 80. Maybe a few showers Friday night and first thing on Saturday. But we get past tomorrow, and the work week, Janet, is looking terrific.
All right, I just want to say I love these new graphics. I hope you're watching it.
To our art department and to Garrett, great job.
Spectacular. Thank you. Well, did you watch the Emmys last night? If you did, you know there were some upsets. NBC 30's Mark Barger talked to some of the winners after the show.
What do you think about that? Well, we've got Desperate Housewives on our show, too.
And Everybody Loves Raymond beat out the women of Wisteria Lane to take home the Emmy for Best Comedy Sunday night.
Even you guys admit you thought Desperate Housewives was winning.
You need to win one more.
So it was a shock. And it's great. It's also a little bittersweet because it is kind of our swan song, and it kind of symbolizes the closure in the end. And I miss it already.
Romano's co-star Doris Roberts won her 5th Emmy as Best Supporting Actress, and Brad Garrett his 3rd for Best Supporting Actor.
Felicity Huffman.
Desperate Housewives did bring home the Emmy for Best Actress in a Comedy, but in a mild surprise, it was Felicity Huffman, beating out her favorite co-stars, Terry Hatcher and Marcia Cross.
I hugged them and they kissed me, and we all support each other. So, no, it's fantastic. A win for one is a win for all.
That sentiment was shared by the large ensemble cast of ABC's other first-year hit, Lost. That show won the Emmy for Best Drama.
To get this award right now, right before our second season kicks off, it's incredibly exciting and puts us in a really good spot. It's wonderful.
Maybe the night's most surprised winner was Essie Patham-Merkerson. After winning Best Actress in a miniseries or movie, she was literally searching for words.
I actually wrote something and I put it in my thing and it went down and I can't get it. It was just an incredible moment, and as I was walking up the stairs, I kept thinking, ah!
It's simply made for another memorable night at the Emmys. Mark Barger, NBC News.
Put something in my thing and I couldn't get it. I love that. Patricia Arquette was also another first-time winner. She won for Best Actress in a Drama for her role on Medium. If you haven't seen it, be sure to tune in tonight. The new season starts at 10 right here on NBC 30. Well, voters may be in for some big changes this November. We'll tell you about a new call from the feds. And at 5:30, gas prices are going down, but they're still draining our wallets. The 5 things you can do to save money.
Then at 6, charity concerns. An NBC 30 investigation that may have you thinking twice the next time you donate money. At 6.
What is most important to us is that we understand each and every story.
Being able to talk about stories, why we do them, that's half the fun of the job.
Here's not what I think of the news of the day. Here's not what Joanne thinks of the news of the day. Here's the news of the day.
It's healthy discussion among adults about what Connecticut wants to know.
Simply, straightforward, as comprehensively as we possibly can.
Everybody rises to the occasion. Everybody does.
Good improvement.
Thank you, Doctor.
Cholesterol's down. Well done.
That's great.
Hello, doctor's office.
And I gotta tell you, nice job.
Mr. Decker?
I told you we'd get it down.
Yep, even doctors can have high cholesterol. When diet and exercise aren't enough, adding Lipitor can lower your bad cholesterol from 39 to 60%. In fact, more cardiologists surveyed said they'd prescribe Lipitor for their own family members than any other cholesterol brand. Lipitor is one of many cholesterol-lowering treatment options in addition to diet and exercise that you and your doctor can consider. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or who may become pregnant. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about other medications you are taking or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as these may be signs of a rare but serious side effect. Ask your doctor about Lipitor today.
When you think trucks, now you think Lynch Toyota. Only Lynch has a goal to sell every Toyota for at least $300 less than the competition for the same exact model every time. When you think pickup, think Tundra at $300 less than the competition at $15,990. Tacoma at $12,990. When you think SUV, Toyota Sequoia, 4Runner, Highlander, all $300 less than the competition. When you think minivan, think Sienna at $22,990, wherever you live in Connecticut. When you think trucks, think Lynch Toyota Manchester. Unless the Lynch name is on your truck, you paid too much.
NBC tonight.
Admiral, we found the missing sub.
There's something in the water.
You guys getting anything weird on radar?
And they're coming to the surface.
This could be a higher species.
Now, the fate of the Earth is in the hands of 3 strangers. They just don't know it yet.
Something happened to me.
Surface premieres tonight, 8/7 Central on NBC.
NBC 30 Connecticut News, brought to you by General Motors.
It's possible that when you go to the polls to vote in the next couple of years, you'll take along a voter photo ID card. NBC 30 national correspondent Tracy Potts has that story from Washington.
To prevent long lines, discounted ballots, and the fraud alleged in 2000 and 2004, the commission wants all voters to show the new Real ID. It's a new driver's license Congress created last spring, primarily to keep terrorists off airplanes. The Real ID verifies social security number, birth date, and citizenship. Right now, only half of all states require any ID at the polls. Former Secretary of State James Baker and former President Jimmy Carter chaired the commission.
We want to make sure that there's a uniformity of application of the rules and regulations and laws that apply to the election process.
But critics argue it's a hassle to get the new ID, so it'll discriminate against the poor, the elderly, the disabled, who without it would have to cast a provisional ballot that may or may not be counted. Critics say the biggest election problem isn't fraud, it's access.
I mean, the problem in America is not that people try to vote 5 and 6 times, it's that we can't get people out to vote at all.
The report also calls for a paper trail for electronic voting machines, something Congressman Rush Holt has been pushing since February.
Voters need to know that their votes will be counted as they cast them.
The commission also urges states, not counties, to manage voter registration lists and encourages states to share those lists to track voters who move between elections. The commission wants to keep the Iowa and New Hampshire primaries intact, but after that, rotate primaries between regions so every American voter gets a chance to choose a presidential nominee first, no matter where they live. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
A hurricane season with no rest right now. It's Tropical Storm Rita that has thousands fleeing South Florida. The latest information from the National Hurricane Center straight ahead.
Another Yale student gets held up at gunpoint. She wasn't hurt, but another one was. I'm Lisa Salvati. I'll have his story coming up.
And the price for fleecing America. 2 men who epitomize corporate greed get their punishment. Stay tuned. The NBC 30 News at 5:30 is next.
Fall is on the horizon, and there's no limit to what's waiting to be discovered in Connecticut. Take an inside look at a centuries-old Connecticut farming tradition. Get a unique perspective on our history as we tour a pair of remarkable Connecticut cemeteries. Travel the state for some tasty treats from around the globe, plus family fun, picking the fruits of the season. Join Brad Drazen, Janet Peckinpah, and Andrew Pergam for Connecticut Discoveries, Thursday at 7 on NBC 30. Sponsored by Warren County Tourism, the Big E, Bassett Furniture, and Hartford Hospital.
What if a car had no name? What if you had to choose a car based strictly on its styling, its performance, its reliability, its value? And what if the blending of all those qualities led you to one conclusion? No doubt about it. The Accord from Honda.
It's bedtime, Jim. He's gonna have to go top bunk or go home. Not a lot of room to work with here. Oh, he cleared it. And goes right into the sleeping log position. Nice.
Yes, the judges are gonna love that.
I know I sure did.
Yes, you did.
Posturepedic twin mattresses are just $139, and queen sets are only $5.99. And get free next day delivery only at the Sealy Sleep Centers at Raymore and Flanagan.
You make me fat, so me give you fat love back. You make me fat, so me give you fat love back. You make me fat. So
Norwalk International In-Water Boat Show, September 22nd through 25th, Norwalk Cove Marina.
Tonight on NBC 30, it's Extra at 7 and Access Hollywood at 7:30. It's a night full of season premieres. At 8, something's lurking in the water on surface. Las Vegas is at 9. Then the race is on to stop a serial killer on Medium at 10. Followed by NBC 30 News at 11, Connecticut's news leader.
Want premium high-speed internet for the price of dial-up? Get SBC Yahoo DSL. For just $14.95 a month, you'll get a super fast connection and features like a premium version of the world's #1 online music destination, plus an all-in-one online protection suite. Cable internet customers, call now to find out how you can get 3 months of high-speed internet free when you switch to SBC Yahoo DSL. Get the speed you need for the price you want. Only $14.95 a month. Call or go online now.
A crime warning on campus. Yale University is telling students to be on alert after one is targeted. Also, a familiar drill in Florida mandatory evacuations as Rita churns closer to the Keys. And easing pain at the pump in a month where we've seen prices multiply by the hour. Today, that arrow is pointing in a different direction.
Live from Connecticut's news leader, this is NBC 30 News at 5:30.
Hi, everybody. I'm Janet Peckinpah. Logan's off tonight. Our top story at 5:30, concerns on campus. A day after a Yale student was the target of an armed robbery, police are stepping up patrols and students are being warned about walking alone. NBC 30's Lisa Salvati live in New Haven where this robbery attempt took place. Lisa?
Well, Janet, this is the 4th robbery of a Yale student in the past 3 weeks, and it happened just a few blocks from here. Now, that student, we're told, was not hurt, but we spoke to another student who 3 weeks ago was shot in the hand, and he says it happened so fast, he didn't know what hit him.
I couldn't tell whether it had gone through or just like grazed or what had actually happened, and then I sort of looked at it and there was a lot of blood.
Yale grad student Ted DeLong recalls the very second he was shot in the hand.
I remember the noise and the sort of smoke and the smell of the gunpowder and stuff.
DeLong says he was walking back to his car when a guy riding alongside of him on a bicycle asked him for cash. He didn't give him any. His attacker, he says, then got off his bike. DeLong says he tried to get rid of him by giving him a bag he was holding. The ruse didn't work.
And he grabbed my shirt and tore it, but didn't, he didn't hold me or anything, and that's when I sort of pushed the bag at him, and then I think the gun came out after that.
Just last night, another Yale student was held up by a would-be robber blocks away from where DeLong was shot. She wasn't hurt. Students are now concerned.
Very nervous, so I decided to stay at home after 6 o'clock p.m.
We see many more police than usual, and it's scary that it's still happening.
DeLong says he hopes his horrible experience has taught the student body to be more careful.
And everyone there is now really cognizant of walking in groups after dark and being very cautious, and so that's a good thing that's come out of this.
Now, DeLong says his doctors tell him he's very lucky that the bullet didn't hit any bones or nerves in his hand, or else his injury would have been a lot worse. Now, both New Haven police and Yale police have beefed up patrols. They have also issued an email to the student body telling them to never walk alone at night and take advantage of the shuttle service that they have, and also to call them if they feel that they are not safe. We're live in New Haven. Lisa Salvati, NBC 30 News. Back to you, Janet.
Thanks, Lisa. White-collar criminals. It's one of the government's biggest cases ever against corporate executives. The two former Tyco bigwigs will be staying behind bars for a long time for bilking their company out of hundreds of millions of dollars, then trying to cover it up. NBC 30 national correspondent Michelle Franzen has the story.
Two
former Tyco executives were ordered immediately to Rikers Island State Prison after being sentenced to 8 1/3 to 25 years in prison. A judge handed down the stiff sentences to former CEO Dennis Kozlowski and CFO Mark Schwartz, and the two were led away in handcuffs. Attorneys left the courthouse after failing to convince the judge to issue a lighter sentence. Since it is a state case, the two will not have the option of serving time at so-called minimum security federal facilities.
Where will you be tonight? Where will we spend this evening?
I don't know where. It's up to the Bureau of Prisons.
The sentences are the latest in the government's crackdown on white-collar crime, and experts said one of the most effective ways to send a message to corporate America.
When you start putting people in jail for fraud, that's what really has an impact on cutting back corporate crime.
In June, Kozlowski and Schwartz were convicted on 22 charges each of grand larceny, falsifying records, securities fraud, and conspiracy. Kozlowski and Schwartz still maintain they did not take anything they weren't entitled to, and defense attorneys vowed to appeal. Michelle Franzen, NBC News, New York.
Kozlowski and Schwartz could get out in less than 9 years, but they'll also have to pay $134 million to the company, and the state of New York has levied fines in the millions. It's official. Ernest Newton is no longer a state senator. Today, he turned in his printed resignation to the Secretary of the State 4 days after announcing he was stepping down amid a federal corruption probe. A special election to fill his seat will probably be held in early November. Tasers may have saved lives in two violent situations this past weekend in North Branford. The first involved police stopped a DUI suspect who was armed with a knife. Officers say they subdued the man with a taser after he lunged at them. And then in a second incident, police used a taser to capture a man who was holding a gun to his wife's head and refused to surrender. Both suspects arraigned today in New Haven court. As you know, the development of New London's Fort Trumbull neighborhood through eminent domain has been an ongoing battle for years. But last week, eviction notices went out, and tonight city leaders have sent developers a very clear message. NBC 30's Lisa Carberg live outside New London City Hall. Lisa.
Janet, many people here would like to see the city of New London have more control over development at Fort Trumbull. There's a group here planning a rally before tonight's city council meeting. You can see they're just starting to form. The meeting isn't until 7. They say they're taxpayers, and they hope that city leaders are listening.
Number one, they need to leave the property owners alone. Take back the power of eminent domain.
That's what Michael Cristofaro's family wants. They own a house at Fort Trumbull that could be seized by eminent domain, and they received one of the eviction letters sent out last week by the New London Development Corporation. After Governor Rell stepped in, the letters were rescinded until state leaders have the chance to take up the issue. But they left many in New London fuming mad at the NLDC, which the state put in charge of developing Fort Trumbull.
The right thing is for this project to be given back to the city, to elected, accountable officials.
He organized a rally in front of City Hall before tonight's City Council meeting. Councilors are taking up the issue of the NLDC's action of trying to evict homeowners.
There will be a no confidence vote, I think, because people are disappointed with NLDC's leadership. Just the top couple of guys, not everybody. A lot of good people on NLDC.
But the city can only send a message of its frustration with the NLDC. It is not ruled by the city, a setup that people say has been frustrating for years. They want to see progress at Fort Trumbull, too.
None of the property owners have ever objected to the development. They just want to be part of it, and they want to be included into it.
Now, New London City Manager and the NLDC, we put in calls to both agencies. We did not get return calls. Now, some of the people involved in this eminent domain issue are so upset they are running for city council. So this issue is now very prominent and very heated. Live in New London, Lisa Carberg, NBC 30 News. Janet, back to you.
Thanks, Lisa. Well, not everyone's embracing plans for a fuel terminal in the middle of Long Island Sound. Mayors and first selectmen from several cities and towns gathered today at Milford's Walnut Beach to voice their opposition. The Broadwater Energy Company is proposing a $700 million natural gas terminal 11 miles off the coast of Branford. A public hearing will be held tomorrow. OPEC leaders are expressing concern about the track of Rita toward the hurricane-battered Gulf Coast. The oil ministers are debating ways to calm worries over fuel prices and supplies. By the way, if you haven't checked Connecticut's gas average today, it's actually close to dipping below $3 a gallon. If gas prices are affecting your family's budget, we have 5 ways that may help you save money in other areas. First, use the dealer's maintenance schedule instead of the factory's. The dealer will often recommend more frequent, sometimes unnecessary services. Also, you could save money by replacing your air filter and wipers yourself. Buy them at an auto discount store. It's a 5-minute job that can save you big money. And third, make sure you change your fuel filter. If you let it become clogged with grit, it can be a costly repair. Fourth, avoid going to your dealer for major services. They sometimes run deals, but you'll almost always pay more. And finally, make sure your tires are properly inflated. Check them once a month. If you don't, you could be wasting gas or worse, risking a blowout. Speed may have played a significant role in a deadly train wreck in Chicago. 2 people were killed when the train jumped the tracks Saturday morning. The NTSB says the train was traveling at 60 miles an hour when it should have been going 10. The train's engineer is taking 3 days of paid leave for trauma debriefing. The red light, green light traffic system may be used at airport runways soon. It's an idea being considered at Boston's Logan International following a series of close calls there. The signals would be posted at intersections of taxiways and runways and work much like street traffic lights. A similar system was tested in the early 90s but did not get good reviews. Mission to the moon coming up. Plans for a 7-day lunar stay. But with the staggering cost from Katrina, how can we afford it? Also ahead, boarding up and moving out, a mass exodus as another storm threatens South Florida. Brad Field says there could be serious problems beyond the Keys.
Yeah, that's right, Janet. I'm more concerned about the possibility of Rita intensifying into a major hurricane once she hits the Gulf of Mexico. Texas and Louisiana may be in her sights. The tropical update and my detailed forecast next.
And from MTV to Jailhouse Rock, why the world won't be hearing from Lil' Kim for a little while.
Then at 6, charity concerns. An NBC 30 investigation that may have you thinking twice the next time you donate money. At 6.
Tragedy on a Connecticut campus as a student falls to his death. NBC 30 live in Hamden this morning with the latest on the investigation. Tomorrow, see the high-tech approach more people are turning to help quit smoking.
From 5 to 7 a.m. on NBC 30, Connecticut's news leader.
When the only thing that matters is absolute perfection. Marvin Windows and Doors.
Visit Ifland Lumber on South Main Street in Torrington today.
You know we have the client presentation at 4:30, right?
Yeah.
Same-day service. In by 11, ready by 4 at Best Cleaners.
It's the Jeep Model Year-End Clearance, your last chance for Employee Pricing Plus. Hurry for the best selection of remaining 05s. They're going fast, so get to your Jeep dealer today for our Employee Pricing Plus cash allowance on Jeep Grand Cherokee, Jeep Liberty, or Jeep Wrangler. All with our Employee Pricing Plus cash allowance of up to $2,000 on select models while supplies last. Don't miss out. Visit your Jeep dealer today or visit jeep.com/clearance.
165 very special guests join Martha.
Guess what all their names are?
My name is Martha Stewart. My name is Martha Stewart. I'm Martha Stewart.
The Marthas take Manhattan.
Is that addicting?
A very good thing.
Next, Martha.
Tomorrow morning at 11.
NASA unveiled its blueprint for returning to the moon today. The space agency says it wants to land there in 15 years using a craft that borrows parts from both the shuttle and Apollo programs. And as NBC 30 national correspondent Brian Moore explains, it'll all happen with money from the existing budget.
Clear, how's it going? Roger, the EVA is progressing beautifully.
NASA wants to boldly go where it's been before, but this time on a shoestring budget, putting man back on the moon by 2018. If the spacecraft in this animation looks familiar, that's because it relies heavily on some of the same technology used for decades in the shuttle and Apollo programs.
Think of it as Apollo on steroids.
The new craft could carry 6 astronauts, twice as many as Apollo. 4 would land on the moon and live there for a week. then return to Earth literally instead of splashing down. By reusing proven technology, NASA is hoping to increase safety and cut costs.
All of our goals will have to be funding driven.
But with the nation digging deep into its pockets to pay for the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, the question is whether America's space program is a luxury. NASA says no.
When we have a hurricane, we don't cancel the Air Force. We don't cancel the Navy. And we're not going to cancel NASA.
3, 2, 1.
NASA plans to continue flying the shuttle until 2010 to help complete the International Space Station. Critics question how NASA can do both without more money.
NASA keeps trying to replace the shuttle while still flying it, and it simply hasn't produced any replacement hardware. It's produced a lot of pretty pictures and not much beyond that.
It's one small step toward another giant leap for mankind, and for an agency keeping one eye on the stars and the other on the bottom line. NASA's hoping for 2 moon shots a year, but says that by necessity, this program will have to be pay as you can afford to go. Brian Moore, NBC News, Washington.
The lower Florida Keys are under mandatory evacuation orders ahead of Tropical Storm Rita. Cars, trucks, trailers, boats stretch for miles, as you can see, in a slow but steady line on US 1, the only road off the Keys to the mainland. Rita is expected to pass to the south tomorrow, but the island chain could be hit with a storm surge. And Rita doesn't bode well for the Gulf either. For more on that, let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Brad Field with our Weather Plus alert. I didn't like what I heard you say.
Well, it's making a beeline right now for Key West.
Right.
And it looks to me as though once it moves into the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to gain a lot of strength over the warm water.
That's what Katrina did, right?
Yes, it did.
Grazed came the same way.
Exactly. At one point, Katrina was a Category 5. It came ashore as a 4. The National Hurricane Center is predicting that Rita will intensify into a Category 3 hurricane, but that's capable of extensive damage.
Absolutely.
So we'll have to watch it carefully, and we will. We start off with our Skycam 30 Network live pictures tonight from New Haven. 57 degrees this morning in New Haven, a very comfortable start to the day. At 79 this afternoon, the current temperature reading, it is a great evening to get out there and enjoy the waning days of summer. Current temperature is 78 degrees. All right, we start off with that tropical update. I'm going to tell you about Philippe first because he's not really much concerned. Philippe is right in here and may ultimately move toward Bermuda. It may also go east of Bermuda. So Philippe will let you know if it's going to impact, if you've got any friends or family or neighbors maybe vacationing in Bermuda. We'll keep you apprised of that. Rita coming across the central Bahamas and moving toward the Florida Keys. So definitely a good decision to evacuate the Keys. All right, here are the latest statistics on Rita. A very powerful tropical storm with winds of 70 miles per hour, just under hurricane force, winds gusting to 85 miles per hour. The storm on a west-northwest heading at 14, and this is the path predicted by the Hurricane Center. Intensifying in this position, day 3, into a Category 3 hurricane, and then it makes a right. And we're concerned about the northeast coast of Texas and the southwest coast of Louisiana. So we'll keep you apprised of what Rita has up her sleeve. In the meantime, hurricane warning up from around Miami and Point South to Key West. We'll have the storm moving right up and over Key West and then eventually into the Gulf of Mexico and gaining strength out there. So we'll push Rita into the Gulf of Mexico and move along and see what we've got next. Satellite shows skies are clear here right now, but we do have clouds advancing from the west, and those clouds will produce some showers during the day tomorrow. So a great day today, and then the weather will be great again in the Wednesday, Thursday time frame, interrupted by these showers coming through during the day tomorrow, maybe a heavier thunderstorm as well. So we've got some great late summer weather over us right now. The hot and humid weather making a run at it. That'll produce overrunning, which could create a shower or thunderstorm. And then tomorrow with a cold front coming, another possibility of a shower or storm. Temperatures now mid-70s to low 80s. So increasing clouds tonight. Temperatures in the low to middle 60s, including 62 at stores overnight tonight. And then as we move on through your day tomorrow, variable clouds and humid with some showers and storms around. Inland, it'll be 79 degrees, 76 degrees in 76 degrees in the shoreline communities for the day tomorrow. And take a look at the forecast for tomorrow is for showers and storms around, temperatures in the mid and upper 70s. And a quick look at your 5-day planner. Drier weather on Wednesday, and then Thursday looks gorgeous. Late Friday, Janet, there might be a shower, but our great stretch of weather interrupted by one day tomorrow, then better days ahead. Back to you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brad, for all that information. Well, one of the oldest and most sacred Buddhist shrines in the world is breaking apart, and that tops tonight's NBC 30 Hot Clicks. Centuries of heavy rain has finally taken a toll on the famous Sanchi Stupa shrine in central India, built in the 3rd century BC. Several massive cracks have formed down the side of the stone structure. Now the Indian government's Department of Agriculture is working on plans to renovate it. 2 Italian divers have broken the world record for living in water. After spending 10 days underwater, the 2 divers finally surfaced, spent most of their time in a water-filled house furnished with sofas, chairs, even a waterproof television and an exercise bike. The divers' first request after surfacing, they wanted a real bed and some dry clothes. And here's one if you eat meat. Feast your eyes on this. Cooks in Serbia have put together a huge hamburger. By the time the pressing and processing was finished, the monster patty weighed over 62 pounds. A team of cooks then grilled the burger, served it up on a cornbread bun. For those hot clicks and more irresistible headlines, be sure to log on to NBC30.com. And while you're there, scroll down the left side of the screen for the daily download. You may have gotten a sneak peek at those hot clicks today. NBC 30's Andrew Pergam is responsible for that. Andy, hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Good evening.
Good to have you here. First, is this just about hot clicks, the daily download?
It's not just hot clicks. It really is sort of the next big thing out there on the web. It's really putting together a little bit of everything, the news, all the fun stuff, everything in really less than 3 minutes. It's edgy and it's brought together. It's a little bit of everything, and no one else in Connecticut's doing this. And we're doing it just on the web.
Well, you're edgy because we always look to you to see the newest in eye fashion. I do especially. Anyway, would you like to take a look? Let's see what it's like.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrew Pergam. Gather around, we are loading up your daily download for today. It's another Monday, September 19th. It is our first official download, though, and we're glad you're a part of it. Here's what we got for you right now. Many are returning to the New Orleans.
So when can we see this, Andy?
Well, this is online. It's just on NBC30.com. It's up all day after noon, so you can check it out when you're at work. You can get there just by going to our page, and it's right there on the front page.
And of course, we're not really supposed to be online that much, so this only takes, again, minutes.
And it's the cool stuff that people are really going to be talking about around the water cooler, sort of that type of stuff.
Exactly. We all do in the newsroom, so I'm sure you were wherever you were.
So check it out.
All right, can't wait to see it again. Thanks. We love it. Rap star Lil' Kim, whose real name is Kimberly Jones, began serving her 1-year prison term today. She was convicted on 3 counts of perjury, 1 count of conspiracy for lying to a federal grand jury about the involvement of 2 friends in a 2001 shootout in New York. The rap star was also fined $50,000. Now, as we said earlier, Connecticut's gas average is close to dipping below $3 a gallon. Here's Tom Lewis.
Is the end to high gas prices near? Some stations here in Connecticut are again selling regular unleaded below the $3 mark. At this Cumberland Farms in Newington, it is $2.93 a gallon, giving drivers reason to hope that the worst is behind us.
I think it's probably going to go down, $2.93 now. It may drop down to about $2.50, $2.60. And I think that's probably where it'll level off.
And there is proof in the new numbers from AAA. According to them, gas dropped 10 cents a gallon to an even $3 per gallon in Connecticut and is down 8 cents to $2.81 nationally. And today, there could be even better news as OPEC ministers meet in Vienna to decide whether or not to increase oil production. That could free up an additional 1 million barrels of oil every day. But for pummeled drivers, they are weary of any temporary price drop.
It might come down for a while, but I think in the winter, when the winter hits, it's going to go skyrocketing again.
And even if OPEC cranks out more oil, many consumers still feel it won't be enough to hold the line on fuel costs, saying they are fed up with the way they are being held hostage at the pumps.
Yeah, I didn't like it when the gas prices went up to $3.25, $3.29, etc. But they're dropping back down. Yes, I understand it had a lot to do with the oil rigs production down in the Gulf of Mexico and the hurricane. But, it's about time we start tapping our own resources.
In Newington, Tom Lewis, NBC 30, Connecticut News Today.
Well, the growing cost of Katrina, now the price tag for rebuilding is rivaling the war in Iraq. And can the country afford it? We'll be back after this.
NBC tonight.
Admiral, we found the missing sub.
There's something in the water.
You guys getting anything weird on radar?
And they're coming to the surface.
This could be a higher species.
Now, the fate of the Earth is in the hands of three strangers. They just don't know it yet.
Something happened to me.
Surface premieres tonight, 8/7 Central on NBC.
When my wife calls to have our carpets cleaned, I don't want to have to worry about who's in the house with her and my son. Some other companies farm out their jobs to people who aren't even their employees. Stanley Steamer doesn't do that. And that's why I trust them.
At Stanley Steamer, we're the professionals your family can trust to clean your carpets. Call today about our $99 special.
Call 1-800-STEAMER. Stanley Steamer gets carpet cleaner.
Rough start to the week on Wall Street. Dow down $84 on the day. NASDAQ 15, S&P 6.
Uh-oh, here comes your migraine. Getting in between you and your life, disrupting everything. A total migraine with pain, nausea, sensitivity to light and sound. But why let it take over your life when you could target your total migraine with Imitrex? An Imitrex tablet targets the nerves and blood vessels believed to trigger migraine for effective relief without drowsiness. Imitrex is not right for everyone or every migraine. If you have certain types of heart or blood vessel disease or uncontrolled blood pressure, you shouldn't take Imitrex. Very rarely, certain people, even some without heart disease, have had serious heart-related problems. So talk to your doctor, especially if you have risk factors for heart disease such as smoking, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol, or if you're pregnant, nursing, or taking medication. Don't let a migraine disrupt your life. Ask your doctor if Imitrex is right for you. Target your total migraine and get back to your life with Imitrex.
Now you can save up to $80 on 8 refills. Click or call now.
Coming to the Big E October 1st, it's Frankie J and Baby Bash. Details on thebigE.com.
The cost of rebuilding New Orleans now estimated at $200 billion, the same as the war in Iraq. Here's NBC 30 national correspondent Steve Handelsman.
Despite the disagreement about when, residents will return to New Orleans and the city will be rebuilt. President Bush promised again today.
I can't imagine America without a vibrant New Orleans. It's just a matter of timing. And there's issues to be dealt with.
The biggest issue is the money to clear the city and the Gulf Coast and construct the homes, schools, hospitals, and businesses that Katrina victims now expect to be replaced by Washington. The bill could be $200 billion, roughly the same huge cost as the war in Iraq.
It's big money, no matter how you talk about it. But the fact is the country can afford it.
The president agrees.
But we're going to work with Congress to offset the cost by focusing on unnecessary spending.
Democrats are focusing on the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy.
They're going to people, again, primarily who don't need them. And there are a lot more important uses of those funds.
But neither tax nor spending cuts look likely soon. And the Bush plan for a new Orleans is being challenged by conservatives like Republican strategist Jack Berkman.
Yes, rescue and recovery is our federal role, sure. Can that be done? Yes. Save lives, get it functioning again, yes. But rebuild the city with federal dollars? It's crazy.
Berkman's guess, the Katrina recovery and reconstruction plan will have to be scaled back. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News, Washington.
Thanks for joining us live at 5. Here's a look at your top stories straight ahead at 6.
I'm Joanne Nesty.
I'm Terry Brooks. Tonight, guilty. A Stratford woman admits to the affair she had with an 8-year-old boy.
Truck trouble. The company involved in the deadly Avon Mountain crash has new problems with police.
Show Me the Money, an NBC 30 investigation that may make you think twice next time a charity comes calling. Next on NBC 30 News at 6.
Are we turning our backs on our state's most vulnerable citizens? For too many years, Connecticut residents with mental, physical, and developmental disabilities have been treated like they're invisible. And the people who take care of them are being treated that way too. The agencies that employ these caregivers pay wages that don't even keep up with inflation. And the state has failed to provide enough funding so these agencies can provide enough care. There's been a lot of finger pointing, but nothing is being done to help our friends and neighbors with disabilities and those who care for them. They deserve better. They shouldn't be treated like they're invisible.
We're working hard, but we can't even make ends meet. We need some help. Governor L., I'm starting with you. Please, don't turn your back on us. We need to be recognized.
Kia Fest 05. Here we go.
Kia, Kia, cash back in me hand. They're the sweetest deals in all the land. Sweet, sweet dealing. Deals will leave you squealing.
That's the sound of savings.
So come to Kia Fest 05 model year-end sales event and get up to $4,500 cash back. All 05 models must go. Visit your Connecticut Kia retailers.
Live from Connecticut's news leader, this is NBC 30 News at 6.
A guilty plea from the woman who had a sexual relationship with an 8-year-old boy. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Brooks.
I'm Joanne Nesty. Tammy Imre says she thought of the child as her fantasy boyfriend, but that fantasy will send her to prison. NBC 30's Doug Green is here with details of her plea deal with prosecutors. Doug?
Joanne, this plea bargain has come under fire from an unlikely angle, as you'll see. But Tammy Imre pleaded guilty to risk of injury to a minor. In return, the state dropped the sexual assault charges.
And our story was it definitely wasn't a sex one case. There was not sex between these two people. And I think that we set out to prove that, and we did that.
Tammy Imre pleaded guilty to risk of injury to a minor, an 8-year-old boy in her Stratford neighborhood. She was originally accused of sexually assaulting the boy in sight of her own 7-year-old daughter. The victim's mother and her lawyer decided sparing the boy from testifying was top priority.
We're pleased with the way the state handled the case. They took my client's considerations into play in resolving this case.
Deciding to take the plea bargain must have been a difficult decision for the defense attorney. In fact, members of his own law firm say they would have taken this case to the jury.
There definitely would have been a question in the jury's mind as to the state of mind at the time of the crime and as to whether or not the crime even occurred at all.
And that's because?
All the evidence we reviewed.
But Papsy says Colombo didn't talk to Tammy Imre, and he didn't talk to the mental health experts either.
We thought we had a real good case for not guilty by reason of insanity, but if we were to try the case, that she would spend a significant period of time in a mental facility.
More time, in his view, than the 3.5 more years or so Tammy Imre stands to spend in jail. No apology today, but Imre is to speak at her sentencing November 4th, and so is the victim's mother. Jerry?
Thank you, Doug. Also tonight, an arrest of a truck driver whose vehicle had serious safety violations. And say West Hartford police, the truck belongs to the same company involved in the deadly Avon Mountain crash. Live in West Hartford, NBC 30's Lauren Petty. Lauren.
Well, Jerry, West Hartford police say that they stopped the truck on Friday. Police say the driver is charged with reckless driving for putting the safety of others in jeopardy by driving a truck that he knew had problems. Even after that Avon Mountain crash, police say the message of safety doesn't seem to be getting through.
I don't know if we just don't learn or what, but it's a continuing problem.
The latest truck removal from the road stems from an incident on Friday on Route 44 near Garwood Lane. West Hartford police pulled over the American Crushing and Recycling truck after a passerby alerted police that the truck was driving with a full load but without its tag wheels down.
Those tag wheels contain brakes that are needed to stop that vehicle.
Police say the driver told the officer he knew the wheels weren't down because they weren't working properly. That's why police arrested the driver for reckless driving.
It is that driver's responsibility. Once he finds that there's something wrong with that truck, he needs to do a pre-inspection. And if he knows something's wrong, as this driver did admit, he knew there was a problem, he needs to take that truck offline until that problem can be fixed.
The owner of the truck, American Crushing and Recycling, would not talk to NBC 30. This is the same company that owns the dump truck whose brakes failed, causing the deadly Avon Mountain crash on July 29th. It prompted the state to crack down on truck inspections, but West Hartford police say they're still seeing problems on Avon Mountain.
Unfortunately, this is not the first truck that we've pulled off the road since this tragic accident. I believe this is the third one, if not the fourth truck that we've had taken out of service.
And the Department of Motor Vehicles Commercial Inspection Unit is investigating the incident. We're told that it has told American Crushing and Recycling that it will not allow the truck back on the road until it has been inspected. We're live here in West Hartford. Lauren Petty, NBC 30 News. Joanne.
Thank you, Lauren. An Enfield woman is under arrest tonight, charged with attempted murder after police say she tried to kill her husband by driving their car into the Connecticut River. NBC 30's Tom Monahan in Enfield tonight with that story. Tom?
Yeah, Joanne, certainly a bizarre situation in the early hours of the morning here at this boat ramp along the Connecticut River in Enfield. A woman driving herself and her husband in their car right into the Connecticut River, apparently in a fit of anger.
Resulted from a domestic incident. Apparently they had a squabble of some sort. They'd apparently both been drinking, and for some reason she just elected to drive her vehicle at about 50 miles an hour right into the river.
This is 50-year-old Mary Ellen Bosquet of Enfield. She's charged with attempted murder, first-degree reckless endangerment, and her bond has been set at $1 million. This picture of her was taken from her company's website. It was around 12:30 midnight last night when police got a call saying a car was seen plunging into the Connecticut River from a boat ramp here in Enfield.
When we got here, the car was in fact in a river, and the two occupants, female and a male, the male was on shore, the female had ran from the scene when the officers, which heard the officers coming with the sirens.
The husband went with police, and a short time later, Mary Ellen Bosquet was found hiding in a wooded area. Both exited the car through a window after it had hit the water. Today, I talked with Bosquet's husband, Mark. He said his wife did not try to kill him, that the charges are, as he put it, ridiculous. He said it was only an accident.
They're putting her in prison. This is a woman that does not belong in prison. Yeah. She fights for this town.
Apparently, however, the couple's past problems have not gone unnoticed by neighbors.
They're my neighbors. They were pretty decent people. They had some arguments every once in a while, but most couples do.
Were the police here often?
They're usually up and down the street. Maybe once every couple months they were here.
So what's next in this case?
The Detective Bureau will be doing some follow-up and, get some background, some other information, and see what they come up with.
Now, the bond is at $1 million, but most people believe that bond will be significantly reduced. By how much remains to be seen. Live in Enfield, Tom Monahan, NBC 30 News. Jerry, back to you.
Thank you, Tom. Dealing with the death of a student at Quinnipiac University. 20-year-old Ricardo Petrillo fell from a third-floor dorm balcony early Sunday morning. Tonight, the state medical examiner says Petrillo was drunk at the time. NBC 30's Ken Llewellyn at our studio on the Green in New Haven with the new developments. Ken.
Well, Jerry, students tonight tell us that school security officers and RAs in the dorm do everything they can to stop drinking on Quinnipiac's campus. But that did not prevent a 20-year-old who died last night, or died early Sunday morning, from Westport, from falling to his death.
I mean, I'm a junior, and in the 3 years I've been here, we've had quite a few deaths. So, I mean, I'm kind of surprised that it's only week 4? Yeah.
Early Sunday, sophomore Richard Petrillo and a group of friends were in a dorm known as The Hill, hanging out on a balcony when the 20-year-old somehow went over the railing and fell 3 stories to his death.
He always made people laugh, and he was just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and he would do anything for anybody.
An autopsy revealed the political science major was drunk when he fell. Alcohol is banned on Quinnipiac's campus, but underage drinking has played a part in at least 3 student deaths in recent years. In 2002, a junior driving from an off-campus party slammed into a tree at nearly 80 miles an hour. Police say he was drunk. And the year before, a junior died in his sleep at this apartment off campus, killed by alcohol poisoning.
There's a lot of parties going on and stuff like that, and people don't know how to control themselves.
University officials wouldn't go on camera to discuss the issue, but sent a statement to NBC 30 saying, "For the last several years, the university has worked tirelessly to educate students about the importance of making safe and healthy decisions about alcohol, which is a problem that occurs on most every college campus in the nation."
It's very, very, very hard to stop. But do they stop it sometimes, and do they try their best to stop it? Absolutely.
Well, school officials say Petrillo is the first student ever to die on campus in an alcohol-related accident. They also say that every single freshman is required to complete an online alcohol education program before they move into a dorm on campus. We're live tonight at our studio on the Green in New Haven. Ken Llewellyn, NBC 30 News. Jerry?
Thank you, Ken. Milford police say there is no sign of drink tampering at 2 bars. They had received complaints that someone had spiked drinks with the date rape drug GHB, but lab tests failed to turn up any signs of the drug.
It's the question you should always ask when you make a charity donation.
Where does the money really go? NBC 30's Andrew Pergam has been investigating several charities for the past month. What he uncovered, coming up.
And we are in the waning days of summer. Autumn arrives on Thursday. A one-day break from the near-perfect weather. These showers are in my Weather Plus forecast coming up.
Tragedy on a Connecticut campus as a student falls to his death. NBC 30 live in Hampton this morning with the latest on the investigation. Tomorrow, see the high-tech approach more people are turning to help quit smoking.
From 5 to 7 a.m. on NBC 30, Connecticut's news leader.
165 very special guests join Martha.
Guess what all their names are?
My name is Martha Stewart.
My name is Martha Stewart.
I'm Martha Stewart.
The Marthas take Manhattan.
Is that a good thing? A very good thing.
Next Martha.
Tomorrow morning at 11.
For 100 years, one book has told everyone exactly where to find everything. But some people use a different book. Her book wasn't as up to date, which caused problems. No other book is more complete than the SBC Yellow Pages. For more ads and up-to-date listings, choose the book with SBC on the cover.
What's new about Ziploc? Is your idea of storage a bit too square? With Ziploc Big Bags, tight spaces are perfect places. For storage, don't box it. Ziploc Big Bag it. Ziploc, designed with you in mind. What's new about Ziploc? When it comes to storage, are you left holding the bag? Ziploc Big Bags with new reinforced handles really pull their weight. For bulky stuff, don't just bag it. Ziploc Big Bag it. Ziploc, designed with you in mind.
Not bad. My turn.
Timing. It's everything. CTS. Cadillac. Breakthrough.
Visit your select Cadillac dealers of Connecticut for this attractive offer.
You're watching NBC 30, Connecticut's news leader.
When it comes to charitable giving, there is nothing new about the work of professional fundraisers.
On average, they keep 70% for their services, but even that other 30% doesn't always wind up in the hands of those who need it. Andrew Pergam is here tonight with the results of a month-long NBC 30 investigation. Andrew?
Joanne, we found that some charities, where for every dollar you give, they only give about a penny or two to the police and firefighters they claim to be helping. And we discovered some of these are operating as far away as California, soliciting donations from generous people right here in Connecticut. Stephen Dewey of West Hartford believes in giving to charity. On average, he gives about $100 to $200 a year to several organizations claiming to help police and firefighters. But then he started asking questions.
Is my money really going to the cause that I'm giving to?
We looked closer and found that 4 different organizations that Stephen has given to all use the same toll-free phone number. So we called it.
Hi, I think I got disconnected. My name's Andrew with NBC 30. This call's being recorded. I just had some questions about what organization this is, where the money's going.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to put you through to some sort of supervisor.
And then one of those charities, the Coalition of Police and Sheriffs, uses a Milford, Connecticut address on its letter. So we went there to find nothing more than a post office box at this UPS store. According to tax records obtained by NBC 30, in 2003, the latest year available, these 4 charities collected more than $5.4 million nationwide. And of that, they actually gave just over $40,000. That's less than 1%. To those disabled firefighters and police officers the charities claim to help. That means of the $75 that Stephen gave to 3 different charities, only 94 cents actually made it. Charity Navigator, a watchdog group, says that's abysmal. So where did the rest go? Much of it went across the country to sunny Southern California, and we followed the trail. We sent NBC producers to try meeting with Maurice Collier, who these letters say is the president not only of the Coalition of Police and Sheriffs, but also the Disabled Firefighters Fund. This address in Orange County, California, is where tax documents say the books are kept for the DFF. This, too, turns out to be just a mail drop.
So they don't even come here?
No.
Any idea why they get their mail here?
They, what?
Any idea why they get their mail here?
I don't know why they have it sent here.
Huh.
So I just forwarded to that address.
That address, 3 minutes away, is a strip mall travel agency where our producer tracked Collier down.
We were looking for a Maurice Collier.
What do you need with Maurice?
Well, we're trying to do a story about a charity that he runs, and he's not returned our calls.
He no longer runs that charity.
Okay. Is he here?
No, that's me.
That's you?
Collier, himself a disabled firefighter, chose not to appear on camera for this report. He says he's no longer involved in the charity. But Collier's lawyer, a former police officer, represents both charities, and he addressed our questions.
My organizations, too, are concerned with the percentages, and they work all the time to try to increase the percentage that actually goes to charity. But as the Supreme Court has recognized, in the early years of a charity, the percentage of money that's used for fundraising costs is no measure of the legitimacy of the charity.
But beyond those fundraising costs, the Coalition of Police and Sheriffs pays an extra administration fee to another company, 10 times the amount given to police and their families. That administration company received even more money from a group with a similar name, the Association for Disabled Firefighters. The attorneys general in 3 states have gone after the ADF, and without claiming responsibility in one case, they settled for over $121,000, 8 times the amount they gave away. Our multiple attempts to reach someone at the ADF were unsuccessful. While the actions of these charities are not illegal, critics say they could, at best, be considered poor money managers. And they're giving donors like Stephen Dewey second thoughts.
I'm putting aside that they may or may not be legitimate. Again, I hope they all are, and that the funding is going to these organizations. But it's just a matter of, how much.
His lawyer says Collier is an injured firefighter who cares deeply about the issue. Plus, he adds it has always been the charity's policy to refund donations if requested, no questions asked.
So how can somebody like Stephen Dewey or any one of us actually know where our money's going?
That's a great question. Online. Actually, online is the best place. You can find all sorts of information. We found all of these. These are federal tax returns that all of them have to file. All those are online on a number of different websites. But don't just go to the group's website. You really want to thoroughly investigate the groups. But you can also find out more from other third-party sites that really detail exactly how much went to the charities versus how much went to fundraisers or administration.
And we've got more stuff on our website, right?
Yes,
we can link you there.
Yes, exactly. And we'll get you to those
NBC30.com.
those sites.
Okay, Andy, thank you.
Thank you.
We're about to take a short break from our idyllic late summer weather.
Brad tells us what's in store in his Weather Plus forecast. Look at the sunset in New Haven. And it's dull early now, 6:16. Next on NBC 30 News at 6.
In Connecticut, one station's commitment to weather coverage stands above the rest. NBC 30 Weather Plus, your source for accurate forecasts. The most powerful network of radars covering Connecticut. An experienced team of meteorologists. Connecticut's only network dedicated to local weather 24/7. Updated forecasts streamed online. NBC 30 Weather Plus, always on, always updating Connecticut's weather so you can plan ahead. NBC 30 Weather Plus, Connecticut's news leader.
We started it,
we're ending it. September 30th is your absolute last day to get Chevy employee pricing for everyone on most 05 vehicles. Like 9 models that can get an estimated 30 or better highway miles per gallon. And the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Now get an 05 Silverado half-ton extended cab 4-wheel drive for a Chevy employee discount price of $22,840 after cash back. See your Connecticut Chevy dealer. Visit ctchevy.com.
Tonight at 11, dorm dilemma, the new trouble lurking inside some Yukon dorms and what's being done about it. That's tonight at 11.
The Ridgeline, a pickup that has a hidden trunk and a flat-out comfortable ride. The Pilot, an SUV with disappearing third-row seats and a 6-disc CD player. The CR-V, a vehicle with available real-time 4-wheel drive. And the Element, it won't conform, but reconfigures itself in 64 different ways. Honda trucks, packed with good ideas.
Oh boy, it's worse than I thought. Let's get some suction in here so we can see what we've got. This looks bad.
Can we save it?
No.
You want me to close?
Yeah.
We really need to clean the refrigerator out more often.
Ready for some real drama? Get Charter Digital with all your favorite channels like SoapNet. Catch today's episodes tonight. Plus, get to know your favorite soap stars on set and off. Get the latest scoop and more.
Scrubber, I'm going back in.
Call 1-888-GET-CHARTER for dramatic savings.
It's been a great summer with Employee Pricing Plus. It's been a huge success, and the 2005 models are going fast. Because right now, during the final days of Employee Pricing Plus at your Chrysler or Jeep dealership, the deals have gotten even better. The remaining 2005 models won't last long, so hurry in now for the best selection. Remember,
if you can find a better car, buy it.
So I'd say if you can find a better car, buy it.
If the ride is more fly, then you must buy.
That's what I hear.
Well, we hope you've noticed that we have freshened up our look a little bit and the sounds you hear, and we hope they are pleasing to the eyes and the ears.
Well, we wanted to welcome you back with some nice weather and a new look.
Really?
But so that's
in
the corner right there, the little
fabulous
NBC 30.
what you've done
Thank
since
you.
I've
Thank
been
you.
away.
We really worked at the computer and
everybody was telling me you've been slaving over this.
Mr. Brooks looks like he freshened up over his vacation. You look good.
Well, thank you so much. What did I look like before I left?
You look way better.
Thanks. I think.
You know what I want to show you that looks great? That sunset you guys showed as we went to the break. Let's put it up again.
Yeah.
And Garrett and I, is the word leaped, Joanne? We leaped into action when we wanted to know, Jerry wanted to know what time sunset is. It is at 6:54. All right, and it was 57 degrees at New Haven this morning, up to 79 degrees this afternoon. And the current temperature with that gorgeous sky is 77 degrees. All right, let's go to our weather maps and I'll show you what we have. First off, on our Doppler radar network, nothing of significance at all in New England. You have to go out past the Appalachians and back into the Ohio River Valley, but look what we've got there. We've got some pretty good thunderstorms rumbling in this direction, and you see that they're on a west to east trajectory. We do think we'll see showers and storms coming in during the day tomorrow. Let's go to the maps, and I'll show you after the glorious weather of today. Notice those clouds are mixing with the setting sun right now and producing that pretty sky, increasing clouds overnight. Great weather today. Nice and dry, the hazy, humid weather making a run at the dry conditions, overrunning we call that. Then we have a cold front that'll work on the more humid conditions during the day tomorrow with the threat of showers and storms tomorrow from variably cloudy skies. And that includes some sun, but also the possibility of some showers and storms. Temperatures in the 70s and low 80s out there. Hartford is the warm spot at 81. Humid tomorrow, but only for one day. Then it's back to nice and dry during the day on Wednesday. So forecast shapes up like this for the overnight period, increasing clouds. Temperatures in the low 60s. You see 64, for example, New Haven, Hartford, and also into Groton. During the day tomorrow, we have a lot of clouds around, some sun, and also some showers, maybe a thunderstorm. 79 inland, 76 at the shore. Southwesterlies 9 to 18. More specifically, we're looking at mid and upper 70s, 76 in Groton, 78 tomorrow in stores with the showers pelting down from time to time. Here's Rita moving toward the Florida Keys, 70-mile-per-hour winds right now. Moving into the Gulf, it may become a major hurricane. The Hurricane Center says it could increase to a Category 3 in the Gulf of Mexico, so be watching that. Drier weather Wednesday, so it's back to beautiful conditions Wednesday and Thursday. One-day interruption, and that comes tomorrow in our great weather pattern.
Nice new artwork on the 5-day, too.
Absolutely.
And our art department, Michael Cox and company, did a tremendous job. Worked very hard. Giant Stadium will be taking on a different look tonight.
That's because the New Orleans Saints will take the field as the home team. Kevin Nathan has the story next.
NBC Tonight. You'll believe the impossible. Risk everything and see what others can't.
Am I awake?
It all starts with a series premiere of Surface. There's something in the water. Then Las Vegas is back with hot new boss Laura Flynn Boyle.
Yummy.
And America's favorite psychic soccer mom returns. Medium. Premiere week starts 8/7 Central tonight on NBC.
I've always thought of myself as a go-to kind of guy. Now with Ford F-150, I really am.
Dad, can we go to the movies? Dad, I have to go to practice. Dad, I want to go to the park.
See what I mean?
The safest Ford F-150 ever has the most interior room in its class. Get one with the Ford Family Plan, plus up to $3,000 in rebates.
Honey, will you go to the store?
It never ends.
Go to your New England Ford dealer today.
Phone, TV, DSL. Bundle up and save with SBC services and have it all for under $80 a month. The reliability of SBC local service, digitally delivered satellite TV, and high-speed internet, all for under $80 a month. Add our singular wireless service and the savings just get better. And when you switch from cable to qualifying SBC Dish Network service, you get 3 months free. Call or log on now. Phone, TV, DSL.
So me give you fat love back, you make me fat. So me give you fat love back, you make me fat. So
Norwalk International In-Water Boat Show, September 22nd through 25th, Norwalk Cove Marina.
Tonight on NBC 30, it's Extra at 7 and Access Hollywood at 7:30. It's a night full of season premieres. At 8, something's lurking in the water on Surface. Las Vegas is at 9. Then the race is out to stop a serial killer on Medium at 10. Followed by NBC 30 News at 11, Connecticut's news leader.
Some finer points of the all-new Hyundai Sonata. It has more interior space than Camry or Accord, plus standard electronic stability control and 6 standard airbags. With quality backed by America's best warranty. All for $4,500 less than Accord. The all-new fuel-efficient Hyundai Sonata. Starting at just $18,495. It's a Hyundai like you've never seen before. For a short time, get the all-new Hyundai Sonata with $1,000 valued owner cash back.
Closed captioning, brought to you by Big Y World Class Markets.
Well, they'll keep score at the Giants-Saints game tonight, but really there will be no losers. Tonight's game at the Meadowlands benefits the Hurricane Katrina Relief Fund. The Saints, displaced from New Orleans, will be the home team at Giant Stadium. During the game, the NFL is sponsoring a telethon headed by former presidents Bush and Clinton. Victims of the disaster will be honored, and Harry Connick Jr. and Branford Marsalis, both New Orleans natives, will play the national anthem. Even the Giants players are helping out for the cause. They wore Saints jerseys for a commercial that airs tonight. For Giants QB Eli Manning, who grew up in New Orleans and whose father played for the Saints, wearing a Saints jersey never meant so much.
Everything the NFL and Reebok's doing to try to help out the people on the Gulf Coast, and you know, I've been trying to do everything I could. So anything to get more help down there, I'll be a part of.
Also kind of the same thing because we've been through the 9/11 thing, and a lot of people were here when that happened. So you know, we know that it's definitely a tough thing to go through.
And the Giants will make the Saints feel at home. The end zone at Giant Stadium, painted Saints. Only about 13,000 tickets remain unsold, but who will the fans be polling for?
We know the fans will be cheering for us because of the situation, the bad situation that happened with Hurricane Katrina, and we love. That's what America's all about. So we'll respect that, and we appreciate the love that we receive from the fans, but we know this is not a New Orleans Saints home game.
You are right. Former Husky Alfred Fincher, who has a broken hand, listed as questionable tonight for the Saints. Former University of New Haven football coach Chris Palmer fired as Houston Texans offensive coordinator. And Patriots coach Bill Belichick would like the NFL to put cameras at each end of the goal lines to help coaches challenge calls. In yesterday's loss at Carolina, the Panthers' Stephen Davis scored even though he appeared to lose the ball before it crossed the plane of the goal line. Just 2 weeks to go in the baseball season. The Yankees a game and a half behind the first-place Red Sox and 1.5 behind Cleveland for the wild card. The Bombers host Baltimore tonight. The Sox visit Tampa. And finally, when Middletown High hosts Farmington Saturday, part of the proceeds will go to the Red Cross Katrina Relief Fund. Fans can also bring food, water, blankets, and other items for the victims. Kickoff Saturday in Middletown at 1:30. We all cannot do enough.
Thank you, Kev.
And that'll do it for this edition of NBC 30 News at 6. Thank you for joining us.
NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams is coming up next, and we'll see you again at 11.
Good night.